This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
This episode of the Pengulorian podcast is brought to you by the Adler Real Estate Team. If you live in New York, anywhere between Manhattan and Montauk, and are looking to buy or sell, you need to call the Adler Real Estate Team. This real estate company is run by a husband and wife duo that, in addition to being real estate agents, are also a public school teacher and a police officer. It is a family-run business that gives you the attention and care you need when you're about to make one of the most important decisions of your life. And I know from experience. Also, if you mention that you are a fan of the Pengulorians, they will be able to get you up to $2,000 back at closing. It doesn't matter if you are buying or listing. So, if you are buying or selling anywhere from Manhattan to Montauk, call the Adler Real Estate Team at 631-384-6372. Or check out the website at adlerrealestateteam.com. Mention the Pengulorians and save today.
Welcome back, class. Today, we come together to do a post-observation review of HBO's The Penguin. All this and more in a Pengulorians, a chilling review of Gotham's crime lord episode of The Pengulorians. Teachers by day, nerds by night.
That is the bell. Class is in session. Welcome. Lots of energy to the Pengulorians podcast. Teachers by day, nerds by night. Bless you again, even though you're muted. We are the #1 public school teacher pop culture fandom podcast in the world. Join you each and every week to give you the latest news and lively debates and reviews of the worlds of entertainment with a cool teacher theme. Lifelong friends, plenty of banter. You know how this goes. You know how we get down. And we are a proud part of the Unfiltered Studios podcasting network. A lot of great things on the podcasting network. A couple things coming up for you. The story of, that's one of our wonderful podcasters discussing the Akashic records, and Movie Lovers Unite, also part of our network, are doing their own Penguin review this week. So listen to us, listen to them. They're going to mention us. We're going to mention them. We're going to have a good time. Check those out and everything. That's a part of Unfiltered Studios network. Email us at the Pengulorians mailbag at gmail.com and text us at 631-494-3632. My name is Mr. Richardson, 4th grade teacher, the man who owes actually the story of us, the story of podcasts, an apology. I owe them an apology, guys. I messed up.
Oh, yeah? What did you do, Mr. Richardson?
I asked anyone in the Twitterverse and Instagramverse to let us know if they wanted to share something G.I. Joe related before our G.I. Joe episode. They were the first person to respond with something. Matter of fact, he hit me up a little while ago saying the G.I. Joe episode was fantastic. But what we didn't hear is what he wrote to us, because I totally forgot to read it in the middle of the episode. I feel so bad. I know they were hurt. I know they were.
In your defense, you were just happy to talk to Sergeant Slaughter.
I was. Yeah, honestly, I completely got distracted by the Sarge. They wrote to us. This show was a cartoon using DNA and fighting terrorists as their plot lines, the 80s, and they were so far ahead of their time. The voice acting was superb. The PSAs at the end were a magnificent touch. Pure beeping gold is what they wrote to us.
It is.
And I agree.
It was.
Yes, and they love the episode, so that's really good. Co-teaching with me, the man who finally has some free time, so of course he gets sick, Mr. McDonald. Legacy virus?
Well, so look, baseball season finally ended. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got a little got a little time. I could go to the gym. I could, do some laundry, exciting stuff. And of course, I immediately get a cold.
How bad?
It's not bad enough to take off from work. And so I'm just kind of like slogging through.
But it's bad enough to put off all of your other responsibilities at home.
Yeah. Well, no, trust me.
Yeah.
I still got to do laundry. It's not going to wait. It's just going to pile up without me. But yeah, no, it's all the me stuff that I would do for myself just gets pushed back. But oh well, the sacrifices we make.
Yes,
Word.
exactly.
And our other co-teacher, the man who is visiting the land of Oz, Mr. G. I just want to know what this is about.
So we know how Wicked is coming out in the next week. That was a movie that I definitely wanted to go see in the theaters. It's so far I've heard some good things about it, and it, because it's on Twitter and it's there, other things randomly pop up on Twitter. So I had this whole Return to Oz thing. Coincidentally, it all started with a video saying how Return to Oz is Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas is based off this character Jack Pumpkin in the movie, the Disney version of Return to Oz from 1984. So I saw that, and I just recently watched Nightmare Before Christmas with my son. I told him that. So we ended up watching this movie. And let me tell you, I understand, Mr. Richardson, your whole take on the Goonies about how nostalgia thinks like you didn't think the Goonies was very good because you didn't have any nostalgia for it. I have zero nostalgia for this movie because I just watched it and I couldn't believe how horrible this movie was. So I had to go to the source material to see what it was loosely based on. I don't think it was a very good stitching of the different stories. And I think it's a terrible movie. And people that love this movie totally have this nostalgic glaze for this movie that it's a terrible movie. Check it out, 1984 Disney's Return to Oz.
Such a glowing endorsement. We should just watch it.
Yeah. So I've been listening to the books, the Frank Baum books, which aren't very well written either because it's from the turn of the century, from the turn of the last century, the 1900s.
Let's talk about how you guys at home can support the show. You can email us at thefandaloriansmailbag@gmail.com. You can text us at 631-494-3632. And you could also buy some of our merch. So you could check out the merch by heading to tpublic.com. Christmas season is just around the corner. Last week, I know that TeePublic was having a sale. So the t-shirts were as low as $16. And none of that money goes to us because all the proceeds that we make, we give directly to Laney's Legacy of Hope. Laney's Legacy of Hope is a nonprofit organization that engages in fundraisers and activities to provide assistance to families with someone suffering from pediatric cancer. It is volunteer run. There's no CEO, no boards. So when you donate, 100% of the profits, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the families. 100% of our cut goes directly to Laney's Legacy of Hope. Check them out at laneyslegacy.org. And lastly, if you live in Long Island, check out Red Shirt Comics in downtown Port Jefferson Village for all of your comic book needs. Tell Mr. Darby the Fandalorian sent you, and he will give you a high five. And for those listeners who don't live in Long Island, just remember to shop and support your local comic book shops. Now, if you enjoy this nonsense, you can follow us on all of our socials. You could see us on Instagram, and that's at Fandalorians.podcast, Twitter at FandaloriansPod, and TikTok at The Fandalorians Podcast. Reach out to us if you are interested, if you have anything to add, while we talk about the Penguin.
Please excuse the interruption. Please excuse the interruption. Please excuse the interruption. Can the Fandalorians please come down to the main office? The principal is ready to see you now. It's time for your post-observation review. The principal is ready to see you now. It's time for your post-observation review.
The Penguin on HBO Max is a gritty, character-driven crime drama set in Gotham City, following the rise of Oswald Cobblepot, better known as the Penguin.
Actually, his name is not Oswald Cobblepot. It's Oswald Cobb in this. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed it. That's true. It's one of my other nitpicks today. Actually, no, I have no problem with that. I kind of forgot to write it in here, but that's good. You're right. Picking up after the events of The Batman, which came out in 2022, Colin Farrell reprises his role as the iconic ruthless villain, showcasing his journey through Gotham City underworld as he tries to seize control during the power vacuum left by the fallen crime bosses. Matt Reeves produces. He directed The Batman. Came out September 19th, 2024. It ended November 10th. 8 episodes. Critically acclaimed for the performances, the writing, the direction, the tone, the production value. It's time for our post-observation review. As teacher, we get asked questions all the time after we observe something, things like this. In general, how successful was the lesson? What are your general thoughts about this right out the gate?
So this was a show that I was not planning on watching. I had no intention on watching this, but I happened to chat with Eddie, man of 1,000 shows, a while back. And I had asked him, I was like, did you watch The Penguin? Or maybe he asked me. And he looked at me and he said, yeah. He's like, you got to watch it. He's like, and this was when it was still maybe the first 3 episodes were out. And he just said to me, it's the show you didn't know you needed to watch. And I was like, all right. So I hopped in and I watched it, and it was definitely successful. I enjoyed every moment.
Well, so I literally binged it this weekend on the advice of Mr. Richardson. Mr. Richardson was like, you got to watch it. You're going to love it. And shockingly, I did love it. Yeah, I mean, look, anything that's done well and tells me a story that I didn't need to necessarily know, but in a good way that develops a character, I'm really going to enjoy that, of course. And what I really liked about it is there was no mention of Batman. He wasn't even like the boogeyman yet. Nobody ever says, but you got to watch out for the bat. He wasn't even a character at all in this. So I thought that was super interesting. And so that's what made this even more satisfying. Mr. Richardson.
Watching this show convinced me, one, to change my grading from moving forward for any show we review, because this show is a game changer for what they pulled off. I have to really be more critical when I give A's, which this will get. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. And then the subverting of expectations that they did multiple times in this series, honestly, just blew my mind. I said before on this podcast, when they were announcing this, I don't watch this. Penguin, he's not my favorite. Why not do Two-Face? I don't want to do the Joker, but something else. The umbrella, the monocle, the hat, not seeing it. I think McDonald said, does everyone need a series? It was just like, what are we doing? I thought the same thing about Agatha. I was wrong about that. I was dead wrong about this. They had you root for the villain early on. He was the underdog. He was this. You know, he wasn't, everyone's misunderstanding him. So you're like, yeah, I've been that guy. I understand he's doing bad things, but he's in the mob world. They're all doing bad things. Then the final 2 episodes, they flip you and go, no. He's the monster. Just, you were rooting for the wrong person the whole time, because he crosses enough lines where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. If anyone's seen Breaking Bad, you know, there's a moment in Breaking Bad, if you watch the series, where he's just a science teacher. He doesn't have any money. He has cancer. You've never seen the show. And he starts realizing he, as a chemistry teacher, he can make the best meth. Starts making money that way, blah, 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 blah. He goes down that path. But there's a moment in one of the episodes where something happens where you as a viewer watch and go, oh my God, I've been rooting from the beginning because he was a sick guy with cancer to now, like, this guy's a psychopath. And now you want him to end.
But that took like 5 seasons for you to realize that. This did it in 6 episodes.
Episode 7 is the one, and I'll get to in a minute. That's just the one that just put it in motion. We're like, oh my God, this is what I'm watching. So this was absolutely incredible. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, well, I mean, Charlie always talked about he doesn't like movies or TV shows about bad guys because he doesn't like, you know, humanized bad guys. And that's what I was afraid that this was going to be. That, you know, the Penguin was a bad guy, but only to bad people. And you very quickly find out, no, he is a bad guy.
Not
And
quickly, though. Not
the
quickly.
moment you find out that he is just a bad guy, at first you're like, oh, I don't like that. But then you're like, wait, no, I do, because I need my bad guys to be legitimately bad. So this way, in the next movie, when Batman punches him in the face, you're like, good, you deserve it.
Go ahead, Charlie, because we can talk.
No, I was going to say I agree, and it's hard to not talk about. It was that final scene of the episode where it's just like, all right,
Talk about it. Let's just talk about it. What do we didn't want to stick with the cat?
at first when he was talking with Vincent and talking about how he was proud of him, how he did the job, and then he ends up killing
You
him.
mean Vic, not
Vic,
Vincent?
yeah.
Yeah.
Vic. I was just like, why'd they kill Vic? I was so annoyed with it because I was like, I liked Victor. He tried, he did the thing, he blah blah blah, and then but you had to really show why the Penguin is bad. You had to bring him back to that bad guy, and that to me was like the ultimate. Yeah, the stuff with his brothers was pretty crummy, but you can kind of basically see they showed him like maybe he was concerned. He was a little concerned and this and that, but it was an accident. Like he didn't realize it would happen.
Well, hold on, Charlie. So let's put this in teacher terms. Let's talk about the behavior plan for the Penguin.
Yeah.
So what's the moment when you're like, all right, that's a bad guy? Is it not until he kills Vic, or was it earlier?
Well, the whole thing is they when the mom is going through the psychotherapy and she says she knew all along and she found the flashlight and she was like, he knew that they were down there and had all the chance. But you could kind of chalk that up to being a scared kid, because when they showed him in the flashbacks, he was kind of concerned. Like he kept looking out to see if they were coming, if they got out, and maybe he was afraid to say, "I did this." But the moment that with Vic, it was just like, all right, this is now tying the bow of I'm the bad guy because I'm a bad guy.
And I'll tell you what I really liked about it as well is you kind of understood, because just as they're talking about that you're like family to me, and then he goes out and then he kills Vic because he goes, having family is a weakness and I can't have any weaknesses, that you're like, I get why he did it.
Yeah. But
it was just like, oh, I didn't want him to do it. And the way and the manner in which he did it as well, you're just like, wow.
Right.
And then the show just ends, essentially.
Because you have your bare hands and you have a gun. He literally choked the boy out as he's begging for mercy versus just a mercy killing like a shot. And that is just a sign. But for me, it was earlier when he killed his brother, the episode before. That's when I was like, oh, no. That boy's a psychopath. There's a lot of debate over if he knew it was going to happen or not. He might have not known that tunnel was filled with water. He knew they were trapped there. He knew he locked them in. He knew they couldn't get out. And the worst thing, and when that episode started, you see the interactions with his brothers. And I'm like, okay, this is what happens to his brothers. I'm ready for it. But then the brothers come in the room. And then when I was tipped off that he was a psychopath was the fact that the brothers were nice. Because in my mind, maybe he did something to his brothers by accident, but maybe they were bullies. No, his older brother was the nicest guy. His younger brother was nice. Everyone was nice.
A great point, Jimmy.
Yeah, the problem is he has a complete infatuation with his mother and couldn't handle them getting attention.
Which Freud would have a field day.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's say what it is. That's what happened. With no remorse, no feeling. I personally think he knew they were dead and did not care because he had his mom to himself and he was happy. And they were in the way. You could see the faces, because I watched it back, the faces he was giving them as she was showing attention to them and whatever. Even though she was showing attention to him, there was nothing there where he was the favorite or they were the favorite. There was no animosity. He just didn't like that she liked them too and had no problem murdering them and moving forward. And that's when I was like, oh, this guy, because everything else he did in the series fits the mob world. Killing this one, killing that one, doing this. I mean, this is what they do. Like, this is the whole thing. We've seen mob shows before. His brothers were innocent and Vic was real innocent. And Vic was the worst thing I've seen because, and it's running into my senior quote, but I'll have to say it now because it's there. He took that boy's license, read his name, and later on, we watched the scene where they're going to remember our names, Oz Cobb and Victor Aguilera, or whatever it is, because he had read off his
Aguiar.
license. Yeah, he had read it off his license, and then after he murders him, takes the wallet out, takes his cash, throws the license in the water. They're never going to know who this boy is because there's so many dead bodies in Gotham. They're not going to identify him. He's just a dead body, and he got rid of his ID, so they won't even remember this boy's name. After the opening episode was him telling him how they will remember you. They're not. He used them. When he was done with him, he dropped them. And so, like McDonald said, all I want is Batman 2 for Batman to beat the living out of him. I will pay any amount of money to sit front row. Charlie might even go back just to see the Penguin get the beat out of him because of what he did to Vic.
Well, I mean, look, guys. Obviously, we like the Penguin because he's misunderstood, and you kind of understand why he does it. But there's another character on here.
No, he's not even misunderstood. He's evil.
Actually, no, he's completely understood. But you didn't know that until the end, and then you have the opposite. You've got what's her face, Sophia Falcone. Yeah. And it starts off that you're like, oh, she's the hangman. She did time in she did time in Arkham, so she's messed up. And then you find out as well that it's pretty much the exact opposite arc of the Penguin of Oz, and that's why I love that these two figures are constantly battling throughout the show.
Are they foils?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're ready to borrow a term. They're opposite sides of the same coin.
But she's the hero. If you were really a protagonist looking forward to, she got everyone who did her dirty paid for it, including her family.
Everything she did, you understood why.
She didn't kill, and she couldn't cross the line to be straight evil. She couldn't kill that little girl. She couldn't kill Oz's girlfriend. She didn't do anything to her. She shot that one kid who had stole tires early on when she was trying to get Oz to admit that he killed the brother. But for the most part, she wasn't going. She still kept pulling herself back from going like complete psycho. And then once again, she's back in Arkham. Just Oz sent her there in the beginning and then sent her back at the end. I feel bad for her. And then Vic, like this dude, geez, like it's just.
Well, I mean, look, and what this series did is it showed that Oz is ruthless in getting in what he wants. Absolutely.
Well, it was great. Now, they didn't show it to the end.
Do we want to talk about what we didn't quite like? Because I have a couple of things.
There's stuff about what was effective about it besides, the acting and the story. That was great. I thought the cinematography was great, too. I felt the setting of Gotham being...
It felt lived in, especially at Crown Point. It was like dirty and, that's what you expect.
The one thing about Batman that I did not like from the movie was that it rained like constantly, and they kind of carried that over a little bit. And I'm like, oh, it's raining again.
Well, you wonder why it flooded.
But they had all of that. But I like the way it looked. It didn't have some of the cool visual shots that the movie had. But then again, movie, TV, budget.
But it also, well, the excuse that I'll give you is it wasn't in like downtown Gotham with like the cool architecture. Because
no, it wasn't even that. I was just talking about like the scenes. It was like the way they did the camera work in the movie The Batman to me was really cool. Like there were certain scenes that just like the way they had the cameras like on the motorcycle, on the the bat bike. I don't know.
Well, Charlie, you got movie money and you got TV money,
which is what I chalked that up to. But other than that, I thought it was a real good.
There's a lived-in world.
Deal. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and you know what else I liked?
Yeah.
Was how like they called him the nickname the Penguin. It's like when people get these names, like how do you get these names? It's like because he waddled like a penguin.
Yeah, because he has the disability. He has like some sort of foot issue.
Yeah, he wore the brace, but he had that waddle to him, and that's why they probably called. And his shape being like kind of round and whatever.
And what I liked is he wasn't like overly fat, and it wasn't like when Batman Returns when they made Danny DeVito into like a weird, monsterish person. Yeah. It started out, it's like one of those nicknames that you hate, but then you end up like taking the power from it. And now you can see that he's just going to be called the Penguin, the kingpin of crime, and he's going to wear it like a badge of honor.
I like that a lot.
They still shoot people if they call him that. The guy, he's unhinged. Like if anyone who assaults him, he can't handle it. That's not like the.
Well, I like that even better. You never call him Penguin to his face.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what makes it more ominous.
Different.
So, was there anything that you guys didn't like about the movie, about the show? All right, Mr. McDonald, what didn't you like about the show?
It had a couple of like TV tropes that I didn't quite like what was it, Marconi, how he broke out of prison naturally, and then he comes back, and then they gotta like fight each other, and then they fight. But what I did like they did is they didn't give Penguin the satisfaction of killing. Was it Maroni? I forget which one, but they didn't even give him the satisfaction of letting the Penguin kill him. He died of a heart attack.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
Even his reaction
and then
to it.
shoots him and takes credit. Like,
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but it's it was just that was the only issue. And the mother-son relationship made me feel incredibly just awkward. But I think it was supposed to do that.
But yeah, he's got
Right.
complete
And
knowledge.
but other than that, I'm like, all right, they could have toned that a little bit down, but I thought 9 episodes was the right amount of episodes as well. Yeah, I mean, other than some of the typical TV tropes of, you try to kill someone and they escape, and and that was it. But yeah.
Welcome to the Teacher's Lounge. A couple of categories to hit to. First, senior quote. Line or lines in the series mine I tripped on earlier, how they will remember us, and turns out they won't because he killed the kid, took his license, tossed in the water. They're not going to remember you.
So I had one early when he was like, he finally decided he wasn't going to kill Vic, so he starts kind of mentoring him. And it's when they were selling the weird drug in one of the clubs. And it was a phrase that I just liked. And he was teaching Vic how to like just take up space. And I thought that was a really interesting line of like just the physicality of being a mobster or a gangster, that you have to kind of act the part. Because what you got to realize is Penguin's, making it up as he's going along as well. None of this ever came easy to him. So he knows at least how to fake it and how to act. And so I thought that was really cool.
I mean, never laugh until this.
Oh, here we go. It's the next category. There we go.
Never laugh until December. Funniest moment, intentional, unintentional. I mean, I didn't have too much down for this. There was a couple moments where the Penguin had little wisecracks that made me laugh. I think for the first scene, 5 minutes in, where he kills the brother, and after he's angry because he was making fun of him, saying he shoots him, then he's staring, his face goes from anger to, and then he just curses because he realized what he did, and that takes that whole thing off and running. I like that. That actually completely cracked me up. And going back to something else we forgot about in terms of common tropes, because this reminds me of it, the fact that he killed the brother, but the entire season wasn't them trying to realize he killed the brother, was the subverting of expectations and tropes. Because a normal trope would be she'd find out episode 8 that he did it, and then it takes off, and 9 is like the whole big thing. It was like 3 episodes in, she kind of puts it together, and it's just off and running. I loved how they just became different shows throughout. McDonald, something that cracks you up.
Well, so I said this. This one is unintentional. I said this when the Batman first came out, and it only happened a couple of times. But I thought the makeup, only occasionally, like when he made in like certain turns, that you're like, yeah, that is. So what makes me laugh is the fact that, because I had to look it up. Colin Firth, right? That's his name.
Colin Farrell.
Sorry, Colin Firth's a different actor. He went through 3 hours of makeup every time to become the Penguin. Now, my question is, couldn't they just find a balding, overweight guy to play the Penguin? It didn't have to be a guy in 3 hours of makeup every day.
No,
couldn't have been such a good actor. The actor.
I don't know. But like, ready? I got it for you right now. Why can't it be Paul Giamatti?
I don't think anyone could have pulled this off that well, because if you notice the mannerisms, the movement, the way
but every now and again it made me chuckle, because I'm like, it is one of the world's handsomest men in 3 hours of makeup, and so just every now and again I would just be like, that's interesting.
My thing is, most people had no idea he was under it. Like, I don't even recognize him in that. I think the people who did the makeup, are going to win some awards too if the Emmys does a makeup thing. I'm not really sure what the Emmys does, that kind of thing. he's so buried under it. 3 hours. I don't even see him. Like even I don't recognize mannerisms.
Did he get that scarring on his face from when he got in the car wreck with Batman?
I think that's from. I thought that was from that.
Yeah, because I don't remember him being that beat up. But you know what I thought was unintentionally funny? The scene when he has them all of the lower gangs together, and he's trying to rally them together, and he has the beer.
Oh yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
And it just made me just in my brain, I was like, this reminds me of a Modelo commercial. This would like fit a Modelo commercial.
Well, and what I did like as well is the name of the beer was like Gotham Beer, because you're like, they didn't want to make, or unless they tried to sell it and nobody like wanted to give them money for it. Because you could just see the Penguin, and he's like, and when I make my moves, there's nothing I like better than an ice cold Coors Light. And then winks at the camera.
I took that in the terms of they don't get the good beer because they're that far beneath. Like he literally went out of his way to get like the bottom.
You think Coors Light is good beer?
No, my point is it's not a name brand. It's not a name brand. It's let's give them the most generic stuff because this is all we're allowed to get here.
I think it kind of fits the motif of the just Gotham. It's like you got to bring.
Yeah. And one other thing that I did laugh at unintentionally, they look at Vic's driver's license, and you know what it says on the driver's license? It doesn't say New York, it doesn't say New Jersey, it doesn't say anything. It's a Gotham driver's license. And the social studies teacher in me is like, that's state issued, it's not a city thing.
Those Google slides were on point. Most rewatchable moment. I might have a few things, but we already talked about some of them. Killing the brother in the opening scene was good for me. That was just, oh wow, this is a different kind of show. And then the cover up, the whole scene with his brothers and that interaction, I rewatched that over. These are the scenes I know, it's not all funny stuff. It's just watching for the nuances and just the telegraphing moments. I rewatched that, and of course, the Vic murder was just masterfully done. Like watching him say it, and especially if we rewatch it, you can see where he just knows, like he has to kill him. He can't afford to be tied down. He can't afford to have anyone hurt him. Like everyone else in his life, he used you, and then when he's done with you, he drops you. Cup.
Well, so I have two. I'm going to try to sneak in two. My absolute, I feel like it was the peak of the season, was the episode that explained what happened with Sophia Falcone. And that's where you really find out that she is such a tragic character, that you find out that it was her father who was murdering these girls, and he decided to pin it on her, and the entire family went against her. And she was only supposed to be in Arkham for 6 months. And then she has to spend 10 years there and get physically and mentally tortured the entire time. And, because it's funny, I teach law. And so we always talk about, one of the units we do is we talk about pleading insanity. One of the lessons I teach is, can you fake insanity? And the real answer is no. Because I have kids all the time and they're like, well, I would just fake insanity to go to an insane asylum, and then I would just tell them I'm not insane, and then they let me go. And so I'm like, all right, explain to someone that you're not crazy. And the more you try to argue that you're not crazy, the crazier you sound. And that's kind of what happened to her. And so she just got stuck there for 10 years, and you understood, and you're just like, it was such a tragic moment. I really enjoyed that storytelling. But my favorite part is, I just said how I loved how Batman was not in this, but I loved you got the Penguin's victory, and he's dancing with the prostitute in his mom's dress, and there's all kinds of stuff going on in the penthouse, so it looks like the Penguin won. And then in the background, what do you see in the sky?
Yeah,
you see the bat signal, and then the show ends, and you're like, yes,
someone's gonna beat that boy down.
So
justice for Vic, guys.
For me, what was perfect about it wasn't that it was rewatchable, but both stories, the A story and the B story, were compelling. there are shows where you'll watch, Lord of the Rings is one of them, where I can fast forward through all the Sam and Frodo stories to get to the good action stuff sometimes. This, the Sophia Falcone's storyline was great. It's like I was compelled to want to know more about her, and I wasn't bored with her storyline. I was like,
and you also
anxious.
couldn't predict where it was going to go as well. And
I
that's what
wanted
felt really nice.
both of their storylines, so I really liked that, and I did a really good job of making both storylines compelling. So I like that a lot.
I will tell you, at one point, I was actually kind of rooting for Sophia against Oz. Right? Is it Sophia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was rooting for her all throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like in the first couple episodes, you're rooting for Oz because you think you know how this is going to go, and then you don't.
And I'm glad she didn't die at the end either. So I actually appreciate that part. For me, actually, no, we're on to the next one.
Yep. What didn't make sense?
Okay, class. What's 5 times 5? Chris, my dad has a rash on his belly. Things that don't make any sense.
Well, I already said mine. It was the lack of federalism and how Gotham shouldn't be issuing driver's licenses.
Yes. I have to do now. Again, this is just the nitpick. I know I didn't want Batman, but I hated that things were happening where like Batman would be involved in this situation. And I know I don't want to hear the budget. I'm talking in terms of story arc. The fact that once the gang war started, I'm like, oh, that's up Batman's alley. Because as I'm watching this, and I know Batman's not going to be in it, I'm thinking to myself, what's going to happen where he's out of the way? Batman goes all these different parts of town.
Do you think they'll kind of explain it in the Batman 2?
Probably, but I mean, I know he's not in it because of the money, and I don't want to hear that part. I'm just talking like, okay, he wouldn't have noticed this. Everyone bodies are dropping. The flood just happened. There's death everywhere. It's cars, no power. I understand. Maybe he's handling a couple cases. He can't be everywhere. Once you have a mobster gang war going on for the power vacuum, feels like a Batman situation. I know he's not in it. Also, I think the biggest waste of space in this entire series is Dr. Julian Rush. I could not stand the Doctor. I understand him being in Arkham, but then suddenly he comes out of Arkham and goes, I want to be with you and join your gang because he's obsessed with her. Okay, I got it. So then she lets him join the crew. He's there. He's part of the murders. And then when she gets locked back up, he gets his job back. And I understand it's Gotham, so it's the most corrupt place on the planet, but got his job back to again obsess over the girl.
Wait, Mr. Richardson, can I ask you a question? Do you think he makes more money as an Arkham doctor or as whatever he did for like in the Mafia?
I don't even think she paid him, but
he just was there just because he was all stocky.
I would say, yeah,
he did it pro bono.
He was obsessed with her. You know that he was completely obsessed with her, but because he knew she was innocent, and then he watched her get tortured for years, and then when he comes out, instead of trying to help her, he joins the crime syndicate. And I feel like his only point of being out there was to do the conversation with Oz's mom. Other than that, he has no reason to be around. He's such a waste of space.
He has plot armor.
No, but this is what I'm going to say in answer to that, Jimmy, because I 100% agree with you. He's the character that you have to hate because every show these days has the character that you just have to be annoyed with, that you're like,
I feel like that was the other Doctor.
That was him. It's
no,
just the character you just didn't like.
Julian.
You had to have someone you just didn't like that when they were on the screen, you're just like, ugh. You have to have that reaction to it.
I can help you. You tortured her for 10 years. Man, shut up.
But I also 100% agree with you.
Technically, that doctor didn't do the torturing. It was the other one.
He sat by and watched. If I
know. I know. He's complicit. Trust me, legally speaking, he is complicit. But yeah.
No, the whole time, Jimmy, I agree with you. It's like, I'm pretty sure Batman would have, showed up for this.
Some of this.
The lack of Batman in that sense was really what was just like, all right, I get it. They're trying to keep him out. It's the Penguin focus. But I agree 100%, Jimmy. I felt like the Batman probably should have shown up at some point when, the city blew up.
Yeah, or when the entire house and everyone in the gang members are slaughtered. It feels like he's investigating that in disguise. Yeah. But I understand because I've read enough comics to know you'll go like a bunch of issues where the crime's happening and he's not showing up. He's trying to figure it out and then he shows up. Maybe he shows up tomorrow.
Crime's got to happen.
Well, would you guys have preferred if you just heard the cops discussing about things that Batman were doing
No.
in other parts of the city, or because I kind of liked it. No Batman at all.
I wouldn't want the discussion because realistically, would you normally hear that? I mean, I'm sure there's many people in Gotham who've never seen him, don't even hear the stories, not talking to cops, and half of these people in this the characters aren't around the police enough.
Yeah,
to
but
hear.
the dad, who killed the dad? Batman killed the dad. So that's what I didn't understand, why the lack of Batman. Like, Batman killed the Falcone.
You mean Falcone?
Yeah. Batman was the guy who killed him. Like, you think he would have had his fingers in there some more? That's all. You
know what
think the other people would have been like, let's get Batman. Instead, it was all about drops and,
If I was going to pull from the Batman string, I would have had Gordon in one or two scenes, maybe investigating the house. He's not commissioner yet. I think he's just lieutenant.
Yeah, as just a low-level detective.
Maybe have him walk through a scene because he kind of would have been put on that major case when all the gang members, because he's been a part of that world, that kind of thing. Or maybe, and that's it. I would have sprinkled that in. That would have been my moment. But yeah, I understand not to have Batman, but I also understand he kind of would have been around. But maybe Batman 2, he's back in town. Like, wait, what happened? Vic's dead? He's a friend? Did you make plans for next week? What happens next day? So I thought about next day. So next day, again, Batman 2. You have Oz. They haven't announced the villain. It better be Oz, otherwise they're making a mistake. But they've already started filming, so who knows? Sophia, now we find out Selena Kyle's her half brother, which makes sense. Or half sister, which makes sense because they kind of discussed that in the other thing.
Who is that as a Batman character?
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie, you're adorable.
She was the and they announced that the mob guy was her father in the Batman movie. So it was already established that he was her father. So it wasn't like a surprise they related. It's just she didn't know. In my mind, I would love it if it was Commissioner Gordon investigating Vic's death, but the more I think about it, the more it's just a dead body that no one's going to find.
He's a nobody.
That's about it. I just think Batman's involved. Oz is risen to the top. He shows up. This is what I want to happen in Batman 2. Next day.
Well, I mean, look, we all want justice for Vic, and so you want at least Batman to punch the Penguin in the nose. What are we going to see? I don't know how much time is going to pass. I think what we're going to see in the Penguin 2, in the Batman 2 is, if enough time has passed, we're going to see the Penguin as a quote unquote respectable member of Gotham.
I think that's where it should be. It shouldn't literally be like the next day where he's still I think it has to be full swing.
Yeah. He's wearing a tuxedo all the time
in
because
charge.
He's hobnobbing. And I could see that he could be possibly discussing a run for mayor himself.
All right. Star student, best actor, character in the series. Who you got? Who's getting your sticker? Charlie has 2.
Always.
Go ahead, Charlie. Give your 2.
Maybe 3. No.
Simmer down,
no.
Charlie.
Unfortunately, all 3, to me, you have your leads of Sophia, Penguin, and Vic. I think they did a great job, respectively, playing their parts. Completely believable in all of their parts. I think all 3 of them did a fantastic job, which made this series such a strong series, because there was great acting all around. Even the little kid that we talk about, we can't always fault the kids, because there's shows that we watch where they have kid actors in it that do a pretty not good job. But even the kid who played young Oz, he did a great job too.
Yeah, he was a very good actor.
I feel all around, the director got these actors to really give it, and they all brought it. So, everyone gets a gold star. Everybody, even the guy that grip, the assistant grip, he got a gold star. Gold stars for everyone.
McDonald.
Now, unlike Charlie, I'll make the tough decision. I'm going to give 1 star, and I'm going to give it to the person who had to do the most with the least amount of character. I'm going to go with Christina Milioti, who played Sophia Falcone / Gigante. I was blown away by the work that she did, because you have to, You have to start to think that she's crazy because she spent so much time in Arkham. And then as you realize she is just not crazy. She is just kind of broken. And she's just out for revenge. And that character has to work for this show to do its job. And she deserves all of the flowers for this. And so I'm going to give her the gold star. I'm going to be on Team Charlie here and hand out multiple stickers because I really can't even. It's and I don't do this often, but if there's a time when I'm going to have to give out multiple stickers, this will be probably one of the only shows I've ever seen where obviously the Penguin has to get a sticker. This is ridiculous. The people who wrote this and the fact they wrote story arcs for the three main leads, if you want to say the three main leads, that they each wanted something was standing in their way, and Oz somehow got what he wanted and took out the rest of their dreams at the end. To write all those things where it all came to fruition at the end is incredible. To make you hate one person and like him later, then hate him again. So wait, are you giving the star? Are you giving the star to the writer?
Well, partially, but then these actors carried the show. Sophia, there's some lines where she does so much with her eyes before she even speaks, and they didn't write that in. So I have to give it to the three main leads. I got to give it the writers and the directors too. It's just, listen, everyone's getting stickers, man. I can't mess around with this one. This is too perfectly done, and there's no way this isn't nominated for best series for an Emmy, best actor, best actress, or supporting actress, whatever they want to put Sophia in, whatever category she has a better shot of winning. And honestly, the mom has been around long enough. She may get a nod for a supporting actress because she was pulling some crazy stuff out. So I don't know. A lot of stickers going around. I can't call it. It's actually really too good. Except I forgot about the Arkham thing too. That was crazy. That whole episode with the Arkham alone would give her win something.
No sticker. No sticker for the doctor, though, the psychologist.
Oh, no, he ain't getting the sticker. No, he can't. He's going to detention.
You know what scene I thought she did a fabulous job in was when it was towards the end I don't even know if it was the last episode, when they had Penguin was tied up and they were going to cut the mom's finger off. And right at the end, she was just looking at him. She was like, you were going to let me cut her finger off because basically you're too weak to man up to tell the truth. You're so delusional that you were going to let me cut her. Just like her face, and like it was just a very well acted scene.
You could see in her face where she's like, that's literally where she comes to grip with the fact that I do not belong in this world.
Yeah.
These people are nuts. I'm out. And she tried to get out, and then, Penguin put her back in prison. But she wanted.
So all this is telling me is that I was right.
About what?
I mean, Oz.
She gets her
stop being a coward. Give 1 star.
No, but they all did a fantastic
Show.
job.
You take one of them out. You have a bad actor playing one of these roles, the whole thing's going to fall apart.
No, well, look, I
only as good.
I don't disagree. I have the intestinal fortitude to make a decision.
I'm proud of you.
All right.
You know what? They're going to remember you, McDonald. They're going to remember you. Who ate my lunch?
Are you going to choke me?
Yeah.
Lauren, get him. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't. What are you taking? I want Vic's driver's license, guys. I just want to have it. I don't know why. I want the driver's license. That's my memorabilia.
The stupid Gotham driver's license.
I want the license. I thought it'd be cool to have.
I'll take a purple Maserati.
I was just going to say the same thing. I definitely would take Oz's car.
Yeah.
Are we teaching this again next year? So listen, I know the movie's coming out, but they are actually in early talks of season 2, mostly because they're running into award seasons and they're realizing this is a little bit bigger than they thought it would be. HBO's leaning on them. There's talk of him doing a different villain character. There's talk of a season 2. There's talk of a bunch of things. Any of this you'd like to see? You wouldn't want to see? What are you thinking, McDonald?
I don't want to see the Penguin season 2 because this season is about the rise of Oswald Cobb, and we saw it. So what would season 2 be about? What are we going to get? We're going to get Catwoman and Sophia, like just trying to take him down. That's just not the same, And so what I did like what you said is do this for another villain, and not necessarily, don't give me the Joker. Don't give me the Riddler. We already did that. give me a super gritty, realistic take on Two-Face.
I'm kind of in agreement. I feel like season 2, you have this whole. If it was only going to be one season, I would just take it and be like, yes, and for all its glory, and just hold on and savor the fact that we had this moment together and we really enjoyed it. I feel like once you open that door to season 2, you're kind of like, all right, are we going to go for season 3? And it kind of gets dragged out at that point. And is that what we really want? Do we want to kind of ruin the moment and bask in the glory that it was? And just like Avatar: The Last Airbender, like just the love for it just is there, and I just want to hold on to the love we had.
Well,
So I don't necessarily know if I need a season 2.
Right. You do give up a good point, because if they're going to make a season 2, you know that probably means they're going to make a season 3. And so they'll probably leave stuff for season 3. And that's why a lot of these shows, season 2 is not necessarily that much better.
I feel like it ate, Jimmy. It ate. It got all the crumbs. There was no one
Left
crumb.
no crumbs.
Once the
again,
little crumbs, I don't need those little crumbs.
The fact that I come on every week to educate you guys, it's really tough.
No.
Listen carefully what I'm about to say. Listen to Jimmy. You got to
need
hear
that
Jimmy.
money.
Hear Jimmy. No, it's not the money. McDonald, you just made a point about how other shows don't need a season 2. This is different than anything we've ever expected. I sat here and did not want this. Thought it was a terrible idea. Thought it was ridiculous. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. It came. I watched. I thought it was incredible. For me now to say, oh, they're going to do a season 2. Oh my God, I don't want that. I don't want that. I just did. Have I learned nothing?
Yes.
The people,
you
if
have
the
to
same
savor it.
people,
Just know it was there.
If the same
share the moment.
people, if the same people are coming back who produced the 9 episodes we just watched,
But they finished their story.
that doesn't. These people can come up with another story. If you're telling me I wasn't expecting this, they came up with an amazing 9 episode story. Wait, hold on, let me finish. Came up with an amazing 9 episode story. Now I'm supposed to assume they can't do it again? Why? We just won a championship. We can't run it back.
How many?
Man,
you know how hard it is to win back to
that
back?
magic?
It's done. It's happened. I've seen it
Jimmy,
happen.
do you know how many authors have an amazing first novel and then nothing else ever comes close to that, because they tell their story and then they're done? Now, do I think
they stopped at the
could?
Star Wars? We
No.
don't have Empire
Ready?
Strikes Back.
I'm going to say they shouldn't.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that I would never say they shouldn't.
No, look,
I'm
will
saying
I
if
watch it?
No,
You're going to
that's
be
not-
you're going to be chasing the high of this season. And look, even if the episodes are the exact same quality, it's not going to hit the same, because it's not the first season.
I would.
It's the law of diminishing return.
Empire Strikes Back was better than Star Wars. I will not say.
Yeah, but that was a planned story.
I would not say they shouldn't do something like this. If the first one was so amazing, to be like, yeah, I don't think they should do another one, makes no sense to me. I didn't think they should do this. This was on an all-time level to just be like, nah, they can't do it again, because I've seen too many other shows not do it again. I wasn't even expecting this. They turned the Penguin into like the biggest thing in HBO in years. All the money. They're about to win Emmys and awards for this. To be like, the same crew wants to run it back, and they have an incredible story if they have, because Matt Reeves is not going to give up this unless he has something. To be
Colin
like,
Farrell also said he's like, I don't want to go in the makeup chair every day.
He also said the other day he's already in talks for season 2. It's not even money. He's about to win an Emmy, and he's never won anything.
Yeah,
I'm saying
he's already won. He's good.
I'm just not rooting against it. That's all. Okay. I would never say don't.
Neither of us are rooting against it, but
you don't think they should do it. Whatever these people want to do,
you're right. I don't think they should do it. I think they've finished the story. Now, the when the rest of the story will get picked up in the Batman 2.
That's a Batman story. I want to see another Penguin story, and if they think they have a story, I would never be against it. Other shows I've watched where I'm like, nah, we don't need a season 2. This isn't a show where I'm sitting there like Agatha. Not sure. I'll watch it, but I don't know if we really need a season 2. Oh, we definitely need a season 2 of this. I think it would be good, but
I disagree. All right, let's go to the final grades.
All right.
Nope, we have. Can you believe?
Oh, no,
asked the question.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. Did Vic have to die? I think we all agree he did. That was my only question.
No,
I have one, of course.
I don't have one, but it's not a question. It's more of a statement. I think you boys would be proud of me. There's probably lots of Easter eggs in this thing that I didn't notice, but I did notice the one Easter egg that I noticed. was where the Penguin was living in the name of the old building he was living in?
No.
Oh, yes. At the end, when it was in the
No, it
penthouse.
was all through the whole show.
Oh, what
the
was
name
it?
of the old bank he lived in was called Beatrice. What was the name of the real Joker's last name? The real Joker who played the Joker in the 70s and the campy. Burgess Meredith.
No, that was the jeweler. That was the Penguin in the 60s Batman.
That
I
was
did
the name
notice
of the
that as
store.
well. Yes.
That was the name of the
Yes.
his house that he lived in that had the vault.
It was in Burgess Jewelers.
Oh, okay.
It was an old jewelry store. And I noticed that the very first time I saw it, and I was like, ooh, I know that reference.
I completely missed that one. Good job.
Yeah, I got that.
Good job, Charlie.
Gold star for me.
Look at you with your bat reference.
Yeah, seriously. You really are a nerd. I love it. All right, so for me, you ready, guys? How cheap would a house have to be for you guys to live in Gotham?
I don't know, man. You know what it is?
Because a house in Gotham City, it's got to be what, $100,000 for like a 4-bedroom house? Because nobody's paying more than that.
But I'm not moving to Gotham down that amount of money. No, it's too much.
Yeah. I'm with you. Now, my next question is, what do you think the Gotham education system is like?
It's pretty bad. People are working in the streets. Like no one's doing anything. They just had the power on the other day.
The biggest career that comes out of Gotham is henchman.
There was this joke online about if you got a job as a henchman, can you work like 2 jobs? Can you work for the Joker to like noon and then go Two-Face? and then there was a running thing about like who would be the worst to work for? Who's more unhinged in terms of villains? Like the Joker, that is dangerous because he's impulsively murdering people. I feel like Two-Face is more stable.
No, but I bet you the Joker pays really well.
Stable. He flips a coin, and if it's the wrong side, it's you're dead.
No. But he's more like cerebral. He's not just out slaughtering.
No, all right. The best one is probably the Riddler. I think he's the most stable.
I don't know, man. The Penguins seem to treat everyone, his henchmen, pretty well.
That
Vic
is
was a little
true.
bit more than a henchman, and that's what I think the difference was. Vic was like family, and he knew that was a weakness. But his other henchmen, he kind of treated pretty well.
Yeah,
You're
that
right.
is true. He did give a voice to the voiceless. So, you know what? Maybe the Penguin would be the best guy to work for.
If you really need the money, Joker, I feel like it's completely
Too chaotic.
Everybody needs the money in Gotham, Jimmy. Come on. Here's my hot take: is the Batman? Bruce Wayne is a fool. The money he's spending as Batman, he should be spending in infrastructure.
Yeah.
And just fix Gotham that way.
All right, let's wrap it up with a grade.
Wait, I was just about to monologue about infrastructure.
No.
Okay, fine.
We're being told no. All right, I'm giving.
But
this
yes, social programming is probably way more better spent than on his Batmobile. But go on.
All right, for me, this is going to be an A. This will be my last A for a while. I'm telling you right now. A is going to be reserved for serious game-changing moments, and this is set a bar for me where I'm not sure it's going to be reached anytime soon. I'll leave it as an A.
No, of course I was going to give it an A, regardless of your little A and holding things to other standards. But
I
A.
have to set bars now. I get too many A's. I've been told that recently. Go ahead.
Grade inflation.
Yeah, it's everything like, hey, it's an A. I don't like doing that. But go ahead, McDonald.
Yeah, look, I'm going to give
Minus?
it an A as well. But I also want to say we also may be suffering a little bit from recency bias. It would be interesting to look at this a year from now and be like, do we still think it was as good as it was?
I think so.
Because I think we will.
I think
Yeah,
Because there are some shows and some movies that I thought were an A at the time, and then you're like, eh. But like a TV show that I compare this to is Andor. Very similar kind of genre, not it was a show that we didn't think we really needed, and it was wonderful, and I felt it was the same quality as well.
And do you want a season 2 of Andor is the question? Because you like season 1.
Yeah, but there's
Why?
why? Well, because actually, you know what? You're right. I'm going to walk myself into a circle here. No, but
because it definitely left off where you have to know what.
They could have stopped. You know what's coming later. You could have stopped. But we took a second season, though, didn't we, guys? All right, I believe that's checkmate, gentlemen. Time to wrap this up.
All right, fair enough.
No, that's not true. I didn't say we didn't need a second season. You needed the second.
No,
season.
I said we should. You know what? I did. You know what? I take it back. All right, look, I'll always take more good content. I don't care.
All right.
Ready? I will watch a series about the Clock King as long as it's done well.
I don't want to watch that.
Who's the Clock
Or-
King?
He's like a F list Batman villain.
Oh, okay.
By the way, have you guys seen on Max the speaking of which, the Kite Man series?
No, we gotta watch that.
It's hysterical.
Oh.
You want to talk about D-list villains?
All right.
Because for those
Oh,
who,
I think I saw a thing for Kite Man.
You gotta
Yeah.
wrap it up, 'cause Mr.
for
G's
those who don't know, Kite Man was Poison Ivy's boyfriend in the Harley Quinn cartoon, and so they gave him his own spin-off. It's
And
so
it-
funny.
All right. I'll check it out.
All right, we're gonna roll because Mr. G has to leave. For Mr. G, I can see his face. For Mr. G, Mr. McDonald, I am Mr. Richardson. Thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you next time. Checkmate, guys. That was a checkmate. Try it.